YouTube, go back and tell them to get out of there. And this is the new one. I just started the new one. It wouldn't let me in. And then the only option it gave me was to kill the stream. Wow. Weird. All right. Hopefully people figure it out. Yeah, like I said, unless one of you just to go into the comments and say, okay, guy, although the comments may quit anyway, hopefully they do. Let me get TikTok rolling here. Hopefully it's there we go. Hey, gone through. Yeah, it wouldn't let me in. That was really weird. YouTube gave me an error when I tried to join, and it was like turbo spin. And then the only option was to finish it. And I was like, okay, I don't want to finish it. So anyway, oops. There we go. All right. Anyway, hello, TikTok. How are we doing on TikTokers? YouTube, Discord. Yay, we are happy now. Thank you, Dave, for doing that. All right. Hey, Kayla Merchant. Hey, Flower Lady. Oh, thank you, Carol, for the gift. John as well. Hey, Declan. Oh, how's everybody doing? Good morning. Good morning. Good evening. Maybe not morning. Not quite morning. No. Hey, Chazak, Carol. Ooh la la. Welcome, everybody. I'm John Aravosis. This is my show. We talk about the latest news from Ukraine here. Hope everybody's doing well. Actually, we talk about U.S. politics as well. We're going to start, as always, with the Trump news. And I didn't even print my Trump notes. Hold on. Let me print this out really quick. It's funny. I do this whenever we have a weekend. I just sort of lose my ability to do the show. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Cinderella. I just I sort of get dumb and I can't sort of do the things I need to do to start the show. And I didn't print my notes. So hang on a second. Black and white on print. All right, there we go. There we go. Hey, adventurers. All right, guys. Now I'm printing my notes. All right. That's good. I can hear them in the background. This is better. Anyway, welcome, everybody. Is this a podcast? This is not a well, not a podcast, I guess, because there's a video. Could be a video blog, except it's interactive. Podcasts are never interactive, really. Not too much. Dan Savages, I guess you can call in. But welcome, guys. Yeah, so we're going to talk about the latest news in Trump land. We're going to talk about latest news from Ukraine, the war there. Our two favorite topics. I'm trying to think. Thank you, Kim, for the gifts. Please do keep the gifts coming. Ukraine news is coming next. We're starting with America news and then switching over to Ukraine. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So new rules for TikTok for how the lives get paid. So the percentage we get is dependent on, for example, following me. So I'm going to ask you guys on TikTok to follow me. So please do. I may have said YouTube. I meant TikTok. Please do follow me. Mods, remind people, I guess, to follow me. Another thing is that little heart thing up there is some kind of a team member thing. It costs you a coin for you to join. So hitting that little thing, several of those happening per show help me out too. Thank you, Kathy Story and Joshua. Those help me out too, apparently. Thank you, Ash. It's like I said, TikTok has all sorts of crazy arcane rules for what they want us to do for engagement. So I'm like, all right. I can hear my notes. I believe finished printing. Thank you, Heidi and Philly. Let me get my notes and then we will continue here. All right. Oh boy. Okay. Here we go. Oh, I've got my notes. All right. So, crazy news. I mean, as always, the Trump news today. Oh my God. Please do keep the gifts coming too, guys. I do this for a living. I do it full time. Your gifts quite literally pay the bills. So please keep them coming. Yes, it will not let you recharge gifts if you're American. You've got to go on the website. Oh, new instructions, mods. So, folks, if you're American and you're trying to recharge the gifts on TikTok, you need to go to the website. You can't do it via the app. You go to the website, but there's two things. One, you might be able to do it from your phone, but you've got to go to the website. What people said was when you pull up the page, tell your browser to pull up the browser page, not the mobile page. I don't quite remember where that is in the browser functions, but you want to tell it pull up the actual web browser page, not the mobile page. That's the first thing. Second thing is, if you got a computer, it's probably easier on a computer just to buy the TikTok coins you use for giving gifts because you probably get around it that way. You would go to tiktok.com/coin or coinza, either one works. But that's probably the easiest way to buy the coins. And if you don't use your iPhone, or Google phone, at least the iPhone, to buy the coins, you get 25%. It costs 25% more if you buy the coins, or 25% less, I guess, if you buy the coins using the browser. They do make it difficult. Well, the part of the reason it's difficult now is because we've got the ban. I mean, the ban is taking place. Google and Apple are banned from the App Store. Not Google, Apple. TikTok is banned from the Google and Apple app stores. And that is why it makes it difficult to recharge the coins. So Trump announced today, we have Gaza news. Apparently, the U.S. is going to kick out all the Palestinians out of Gaza, all 2 million of them. Thank you, KT. And they're never coming back. That was Trump's big revelation today. You may remember last week that Trump had said U.S. was going to own Gaza. Thank you, Blue Ariel. Actually, that was worthy of a faceplant, what I just said about Trump. Last week, Trump said U.S. was going to own Gaza. We were going to develop it into like a Trump Mar-a-Lago with, lots of gold and facelifts. And, well, the White House then tried to move it back, right? Thank you, Declan, for the gift. Thank you, NJB. The White House tried to step it back. Thank you, PG. And said, oh, no, he didn't mean we were kicking all the Palestinians out. They can come back. They're just, I think they kind of were saying it's like renovating your house. They're going to leave while we fix it up, and then they can come back. Well, so all week, the White House was trying to spin things. No. Trump did not say we're going to kick the Palestinians out, because that would be ethnic cleansing. That would be a war crime. Trump came out today and said, that's exactly what I meant. So yes, Trump came out today and said he's kicking all the Palestinians out of Gaza, all 2 million. At least that's his wish list. He wants to kick all 2 million out of Gaza and send them to Egypt and Jordan, and they're never going to be allowed back. And he's going to make it a very pretty resort with lots of nice hotels. Whether that means he's making it part of America now, we don't know. I would say good luck kicking the 2 million Palestinians out, because the Israelis have been doing a lot of damage for the last year and a half, or year and 3 months. And I got news for you, 5 months. It's not easy, right? I mean, think about this. This is important, actually. Think Adventures. Thank you, PG. Think of how much bombing the Israelis have been doing, okay, think Adventures as well, over the last year and a half, right? Whatever you're feeling towards Israel and whatever you're feeling towards the bombing, that's not even relevant for this. We all agree that Israel has been bombing the crap out of Gaza, right? And they still have not taken out Hamas, right? They took out, like they said, maybe a third of Hamas or something. Hamas still exists, which is the terrorist group that runs Gaza. How are we going to come in and get rid of these guys if they're so entrenched that even Israel, and Israel's damn good, and even with the bombing Israel's been doing, which we all agree has been wild what Israel's been doing, whether you like it or not, right? Everyone agrees it's been a lot what Israel's been doing. They still haven't been able to take out Hamas. How's the U.S. going to do it? How many soldiers are we going to lose doing this? We're going to go house to house to kick out the terrorist groups that run the place, but also house to kick out the Palestinians. Really? The U.S. is going to do that with our troops? They're not going to get killed? It's not going to cost us a ton of money. Think Adventures. He's literally sending us into another war. He promised, again, Trump got elected to lower prices. He's not focusing on lowering prices, and he's actually raising prices. Prices of coffee now is going up because of Trump, actually, among other things. Climate change, but also Trump's threats to put tariffs on Colombia raised coffee prices now. Even though he took the threat away, the coffee prices went up anyway. That's what happens when you make those threats. So he's not doing anything on prices. And he promised he was going to, get us out of all the wars and this kind of stuff. And now he's going to get us into another war in Gaza. Right? Oh well. FAFO. Lots of court stuff today. There have been a lot of lawsuits against Trump trying to stop him from unilaterally dismantling the U.S. government, which is illegal. Only the Congress can do that. Basically, the overall theory here is, and I used to work in the Congress, in the U.S. Senate, the overall argument here is that Congress creates government agencies. Congress funds those agencies. The president then implements that funding. But it's Congress that creates the State Department. It's Congress that creates USAID, Department of Education. Trump can't unilaterally just get rid of USAID. That's breaking the law, because Congress by law said you will exist and you will do these things. Second of all, it's illegal for the administration not to spend the money that Congress has appropriated. This is a law, I think it's called the Impoundment Act, I think. It's a law back from the 1970s that basically says just that the administration is not allowed to just not spend the money as a way of basically shutting off the agency, right? Like, oh, we can't shut down the agency. We're just not going to spend the money you gave us for the agency. Same thing. Not allowed. It's illegal. A lot of judges weighed in. Trump has lost pretty much almost every case that's been brought against him now in the last 3 weeks over what he's been doing have been thrown out. He's lost. Thank you, Gabs. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, LR2, Trellifin, Bobby. The cases are not final. Pretty much all of them are still going on, but he's lost the initial decision so far, restraining orders, etc. Well, Trump's disobeying the restraining orders. The judges, basically, when you sue Trump for something like this, right? When you sue Trump for something like this, and I know, sorry, my nephew's texting me, and I don't know if he knows the rest. Sorry, I was going to tell you this story. Hold on, I'm going to tell him I'm live. Yes. No, I'm live and I know. I'm writing I'm lice. I don't think I'm lice is exactly what I wanted to say. My nephew's sending me I'll tell you the Kanye story in a second too. Remind me to tell you the Kanye story in a second, okay? So what was I saying? You sue, and what the judge does is the judge says, okay, you've sued Trump for these various things. I haven't ruled on it yet. We're going to hear arguments next week, but I am going to have a temporary restraining order on Trump. Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, Larissa. So that he can't do what he's planning on doing until I get to hear the case. Because, for example, firing all those employees from AID or putting them on administrative leave changes the agency too much that there would be a lot of harm if he did that. And the judge says, I will not let you cause that harm until I decide whether or not what you're doing is legal. Well, lots of judges have weighed in. The judges also weighed in about 10, maybe last week, easily last week. One judge weighed in, two judges weighed in and told Trump that his spending freeze. He did a spending freeze across the government for federal grants and programs. Just stopped all the money. This is why cancer research stopped because Trump did this. Research across the country was shut down. And the judges said last week, you can't do this, right? You're going to turn the spigot back on. You can't just stop cancer research and other research and federal, trillions of dollars in federal money. Well, the judge came out today and said Trump didn't listen. Trump still has not turned the money back on. This happened with some of the foreign aid money we know. The money never got turned back on. This is happening with a lot of the domestic money. The money has not been turned back on. This is pretty outrageous. It is illegal. It is a crime. It is a criminal offense, actually, to not do it. The judge did come out today and suggest it was a criminal offense. We are still waiting to see what the judge does next. At the same time, J.D. Vance suggested, Donald Trump's vice president, suggested this weekend that maybe the administration can just ignore judges, doesn't even have to listen to judges. I've got news for you. Lawyer, went to Georgetown. Yes, they do have to listen to judges. You can't ignore judges. It's against the law in America to ignore judges. Trump's people, J.D. Vance at least suggested they would do it anyway. Elon Musk strongly suggested that they should ignore the judges. Elon even talked about firing judges because, Elon, good American that he is. Elon was talking about literally firing judges, ignoring the judges. What is a lot of discussion today on what your Bones just said, who's going to enforce the law? A lot of discussion today on that. There is growing concern among legal experts that Trump is going to create a constitutional crisis by simply ignoring the law, by simply not just ignoring the law, which he's doing currently, but ignoring the judges. When the judges rule and say, you can't do that, Trump's going to do it anyway. He's just going to fire people anyway. He's going to not spend the money anyway. Then you got a problem. Because how does the judge enforce it? I mean, the judge could put fines on the administration, right? What's he going to arrest Donald Trump? I mean, he could put criminal sanctions on them. Well, anything the judge does, potentially, I would think, potentially Donald Trump could just do a pardon, right? Oh, Elon Musk is breaking the law by not getting his people out of the Treasury computer system. Well, pardon, right? I mean, this is very worrisome across the board. Again, and I would not put it, I'm using my TikTok censor language when I say I would not put it beyond Trump. I would not only not put it beyond Trump, I would expect this is something Trump would do, is just to ignore the judges and sound like he's just going to go ahead and do it anyway. And then we've got a problem, because then our system is a joke, as Bree just said. Then the rule of law, literally, I mean, the rule of law has already had some issues with Donald Trump, but the rule of law wouldn't even exist anymore. And then we'd have to decide what we're going to do if we were in a country where literally the president was routinely breaking the law and ignoring the courts. And then we'd have to decide as a people, what do you do in that case? Very scary stuff. What else we got on that front? Let me see. Yeah, so here's JD Vance's. JD Vance's quote this weekend: judges aren't allowed to control the executive's legitimate power. Yeah, they are. JD Vance tweeted this weekend, actually kind of just an amazing, crazy tweet. He's talking about the attorney general. Was he the attorney general, I think? And saying that, I think it was the attorney general, and saying that a judge is not allowed to tell a general how to prosecute a war. Why should he be able to tell the attorney general what's right and wrong at the Justice Department? And it was like, okay, first of all, a general in the military is not the same thing as the attorney general of the Justice Department, right? The attorney general is simply the top guy. We just happen to call him or her attorney general. He's not an actual general. Second problem, and I even tweeted this myself, Mr. Vice President, you might not be familiar, but in fact, judges throw generals in jail all the time. World War II, a lot of German generals, I think there was a Hungarian general, there were a number of generals in the area that got prison or worse for being NZs and committing war crimes. So no, generals are not able to do whatever they want. In the military as well, we've got judges in the military that can throw those, they can court-martial those generals. I mean, it's just on its face ridiculous. But again, it's what is worrying people. Musk is saying it. JD Vance is saying it. They're laying the groundwork for authoritarianism. And that's what is concerning people, for basically ignoring the rule of law, ignoring judges, and literally the administration doing whatever it wants in violation of the law, and nobody will stop them. And the final point here is conservative judges would say, well, the punishment for the president committing a crime is impeachment. That's what Congress has to do. And if Congress doesn't want to do it, then that's what happens, right? Well, that, that's pretty scary. I mean, you're leaving it up to politicians to police politicians. And obviously, Trump's not going after, Trump's people that control now the entire Congress aren't going after Donald Trump. I mean, that's not going to happen. Very scary stuff. Let me see here. What else we had? Yes, Elon Musk last week called for impeaching a judge who temporarily blocked his Doge group from accessing sensitive data about Americans kept in the Treasury computer. So Elon called for the judge to be thrown out. Again, lovely. Washington Post says the federal judiciary has emerged as a major early bulwark against Trump's assertion of vast executive authority at a moment when the reaction to his administration's agenda in Congress and on the streets has been muted. The president has lost nearly every battle in court in the opening weeks of his administration, with some judges using biting and incredulous language to push back on administration plans they have deemed unconstitutional, ill-planned, or cruel. Judges also have paused Trump's efforts to freeze federal grants and loans, ban transgender troops from the military, and move transgender prisoners to facilities that match their birth sex. Other court orders delayed a federal employee resignation offer and blocked the administration from placing thousands of USAID workers on leave. In more than a dozen rulings, the only modest victory the administration can point to, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Trump also today fired the director of the Office of Government Ethics. Kind of a irony there. Trump is firing the top ethics official in the U.S. government. The office is an independent agency responsible for setting policies on preventing conflicts of interest for federal employees. The office reviews financial disclosures of high-ranking political appointees, as it does of the Trump administration. The official that's there, they're independent. They're appointed for 5 years. Trump fired the guy because he doesn't want an independent official keeping track of ethics in his administration. Elon Musk today is starting to shut down now the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. I knew about this, but I didn't know a lot of the detail. This is, again, very scary stuff. This is an agency put together to basically protect you financially. For example, medical debt. They were the group responsible for making sure your medical debt would not show up on your credit record. That's going away now, thanks to Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Thank you, Ava. I'm trying to remember. There are a couple other really big, obvious things they did that people are going to freak out about. They're basically protecting you from big companies ripping you off. And it is a consumer protection group. The big wealthy credit card rates. Yep, credit card rates. The big credit card sort of financial companies don't want it. They gave Trump a lot of money, and Trump and Elon are getting rid of it now. Yeah, payday loans. It's all sorts of financial stuff where private citizens like you and me are getting screwed, and it was making sure private citizens had more protection. And it's gone now. Well, they're trying to make it gone. Elon's trying to get rid of it. This cracked me up. So Trump kind of shat on JD Vance today. Trump said he does not see Vice President Vance as his successor in 2028. He said, no, yeah, I don't see him as my successor. He's very capable, though. I mean, typically, and you've got 4 years, typically, at least for right now, you'd say, oh, yeah, he's my guy or something like that, right? But I love that they get asked, so your Vice President, JD Vance, do you see him as your successor? No, not really. Hey, thank you, iBully. iBully has a paid question on YouTube. Those always get precedence. This might be a dumb question. Probably not. Does the Supreme Court's presidential immunity ruling have any effect on the high crimes and misdemeanors requirement for impeachment? I'll bet you no. I will bet you no. iBully is talking about the Supreme Court's ruling that kind of suggested presidents can get away with most crimes as long as it's like in their official work. Very scary stuff. He's asking whether that affects the standard for impeachment in the Congress. No. It wouldn't apply to them. It wouldn't apply to Congress. The thing is, Congress is political. And as we've seen with Trump, the Republicans refused to impeach him twice now because they don't want to impeach one of their own. Now, Democrats don't want to impeach their own either. Democrats have never had a Democrat try to violently overthrow the government, but nonetheless, Democrats, don't like to do it either. But no, that case at least will not affect impeachment. No. Trump is going to be announcing 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum. He's doing new. I think that affects Taiwan. It affects some European countries. He's also doing some new tariffs on Europe. This one I've got to read up a little more on because some of what I'm reading is Trump is putting reciprocal tariffs on some of the goods, like from the Europeans, for example. And I want to know more about it because, look, and again, I want to know more about this first. I've got to read up on it more because on its face, right? Thank you, Southeast. Two things. One, we should absolutely positively care about the economic impact on our own country. I don't care if it's fair to put the tariffs. Don't do it if it's going to hurt us economically. So that's the first thing. But secondly, if Europe, for example, is putting these kind of tariffs on our goods, there's a good argument for us putting the same tariff on their goods. I say that just in general. I still want to see the details of all of this. And frankly, I want to read the experts. Thank you, TFB. Thank you, Naisha. I want to hear what the economists say about what the impact is. But again, on this one on Trump, let's see. And I mean, that's what I'm saying. I try to be fair here. I can't stand the guy. But on this one, I want to be fair and say, okay, I want to do a little more reading because at least if the Europeans and others have got tariffs on our steel, for example, we having the same tariff on their steel at least is fair. The question is whether it's economically smart, No, they haven't, Anderson. The economists have been 100% wrong already. No, they haven't. That's one of those arguments. That's like the cartoon where that cartoon of all the plane passengers getting together. And the one guy goes, I've had it with the captain. Who here wants to vote for me to fly the plane instead? I don't buy those kind of arguments. Those are very Trumpy MAGA kind of arguments. The idea that, you see, your expertise is exactly what makes you unqualified to be an expert. That's something somebody who doesn't have knowledge says. It's not something somebody says who actually, I'm just saying, it's a cute argument that's made in order to help people who aren't qualified. Somebody who's not qualified would love to say, oh yeah, people who are qualified, they shouldn't be in that job because I want to be there. Yeah, no. So I'm not going to buy the argument that economists are always wrong. No. And they're not always wrong anyway. What else we got? Oh yeah. So another late breaking news. Elon Musk and a group of investors are looking to buy OpenAI. So just in case Elon didn't have enough power trying to single-handedly take down our government against the law, Elon now, thank you, Stuma, Elon now wants to be basically having a monopoly on AI, which is governing everything, in our lives going forward. Something has to be done about this guy. I really think Democrats going forward should make clear that if they get back in the White House, Elon Musk loses every government contract he's ever had. I don't care if it sets our space program back. I really don't. This is dangerous at this point. This guy's dangerous. And again, yeah, it's going to take a while to bring up our capacity elsewhere. At this point, I don't care. We have created this monster. We haven't created it totally because he made the money on his own as well. But he got 25 billion in government subsidies over the years. Elon loves to talk about literally 20 to 25 billion. You can Google it. Crazy amount Elon's gotten, more than any other company, really. It's just, he's far too dangerous. All right. We're going to switch over to Ukraine news, but let me look and see. Let's look at some questions, comments first on what we're talking about, and then we'll switch to Ukraine news. I do not see Elon getting arrested. Not yet. Also, if Elon, if Trump's president, if they try to arrest Elon for a federal crime, Trump's just going to pardon him. So unfortunately, yeah. So Kanye spent like $7 million on a Super Bowl ad last night, Kanye West. The ad's entire purpose was to point you to his website, and his website is selling. You go to the website, and I went earlier today, Ashley, I think, or somebody had turned me on to this, or was it Blue or one of the others? You go to the website, and there's one thing. It's a commercial website. There's one thing on the website. A picture of a t-shirt for $20, and you can pick what size you want. The t-shirt is a white t-shirt with a NZ from World War II Germany swastika on it. That's it. He's selling t-shirts with that symbol on them. I just, this guy, Kimmy said he's a sick person. Yeah. I thank you, Nauseous. It's not kidding. Oh yeah. Yeah. Not kidding. He spent $7 million at the Super Bowl to do a commercial whose sole intent was to send you to a website where the only and it's literally the only thing on the page is a t-shirt with that horrible German symbol on it that he's selling for $20 each, promoting the bad guys from World War II. No, not Elon. Liz goes, Elon? No, this is Kanye West. Elon has not gone that far yet. Right. That would be Kanye West. He's out of his mind. The other thing I was going to say that Trump did today. Oh God. Actually, and let me get to you in a second. The other thing Trump did today. Trump is giving special status to white people from South Africa because they're racially oppressed. And we are now going to give them special immigration status to America because they're seeking asylum because they're so oppressed for being white. Yeah. Yeah. I guarantee you Elon had a hand in that. False. They said it today. False. They literally said it. I mean, had to be Elon. South Africa, not South America, South Africa. Yeah. Yep. Not African American, well, African Americans, yeah, white African Americans, so to speak. Yeah. You know, here's the thing. It's possible that white South Africans are oppressed. Um, for good reason. I mean, we know why black people in South Africa might have a problem with white people. Obviously, the history there. Um, Actually, I shouldn't just say obviously. Anybody who didn't know, South Africa was a racist country where a small group of whites ran the entire country under a system called apartheid. Um, and it literally was a small group of white people just oppressing the hell out of a black majority. The white people lived on rich rich estates and the whole thing. The black people were poor, and there was a revolution. The black people took over. I'm trying to remember. Was it late 1980s, early 1990s or so? I'm forgetting the year exactly. And so I could imagine black people in South Africa not being too loving to white people. Having said that, you shouldn't oppress white people. You shouldn't oppress anybody. But in the context of 1994, thank you, David. In the context of everything Donald Trump has been doing and saying, this comes across as being racist. It comes across as Donald Trump doing this because he wants to help, the white man in a scandal that blames black people. That's what it feels like. Anyway. All right. Sorry. What do we have here? We did have another from iBully. Trump equals Caesar. Elon equals Crassus. Crassus. I can't even remember who Crassus was. Pompey? Who's the third member of the triumvirate? God, I can't even. I mean, I remember Pompey. I can't remember even Crassus. I don't even remember. You're over my historical knowledge here. Anyway, all right. Let's move on with the Ukraine stuff, and then we will open this up to everybody else. Typically, the way we do the show, I talk about the latest news from U.S., and then we do Ukraine, and then we do a free for all. Gunther, I don't think I can repeat that for TikTok, but that's very funny and good. That's actually very funny, but I'm pretty sure I can't repeat that, but I like that. Thank you. All right, let's move on with Ukraine. So what do we got here? It is day 1081 of Putin's special 3-day military operation. Trump says he spoke to Putin over the weekend and progress was made. Thank you, Marie. Towards having a peace talks. The Russians, it's just so obnoxious. The Russians are digging in, and here's what the Russians are doing. The Russians are negotiating over even having negotiations. They're not negotiating over what the peace deal would be. They're negotiating over whether we should even have negotiations. And they're saying, and it really cracks me up. The Russians are saying, as a precursor to even having negotiations for peace, Ukraine has to promise to never join NATO, and Ukraine has to promise to give up all of its land that the Russians have stolen forever and remove their troops and just give it to the Russians. That's not a precursor for peace. That's the Russians' demands for even sitting down and negotiating peace. I mean, this is who these people are. It's like a Monty Python skit. It really is, though. I mean, this is who these people are. It's just atrocious. Thank you, Kathy, for the gift. Keep the gifts coming, guys. What else we got? German Chancellor Scholz and his main rival in the upcoming elections, Friedrich Merz. I like that, Fred Merz. That makes me laugh. The older folks will get that. But German Chancellor Scholz and his top opponent in the elections coming up both agreed that support to Ukraine needs to continue. As you may or may not know, the German elections are happening very soon. Actually, guys, Germans out there or Europeans out there, aren't the German elections supposed to be in February? Like means now? Thank you, Candy. Are they in the next week or two, or when are they? Anybody know? I'm assuming, I'd read February. You guys should know. Germans? Hello, Germans. In 2 weeks, says Mike. The 23rd? Okay, 23rd. All right. That would be 2 weeks from now. All right, February 23rd. Actually, and it's a Sunday. I love how the Europeans have their elections on Sundays so that, people can actually vote. In America, we hold them on Tuesdays so that working class people are not able to vote. What else we got here? Trump's team is going to be visiting Ukraine this week. not Trump himself, but his senior team. Zelensky is also expected to meet J.D. Vance, Trump's vice president, at the Munich Security Forum, which is also taking place this week in Germany. Via Sky News and the Institute for Study of War, thousands of North Korean civilians have, this was interesting, thousands of North Korean civilians have traveled to Russia to work to make up for a worker shortage that Russia's having. Russia's been suffering from a significant labor shortages in both its civilian and defense industrial sectors since the war started. Basically, the war took a lot of working age men and sent them to war. A lot of them have been killed. A lot of them have been injured. Another million working class Russian men fled the country when the war started. Remember, they were afraid of Putin drafting them and they fled. Putin lost a lot of his people he needed. Also, because the economy is now getting more geared toward the war economy, you don't have people to do the other jobs because everyone's doing war stuff. So they're using using North Koreans? I can't even, I'm just going to guess that the North Korean worker is not the best worker on the planet, But in any case, Russia reportedly has an estimated labor shortage of 1.5 million workers as of December of last year. Wow. Europe is looking at more aggressively fighting Russia's shadow fleet, which is the way that the Russians are getting by, the oil tanker, the oil sanctions. But it also looks like they might be using some of these tankers to do the cable cutting, because the Russians, have been cutting communications cables across Europe, and they may be using this sort of illegal fleet of ships that they're using to get around the energy sanctions. The Europeans are looking at basically they're negotiating and figuring out new legislation to crack down, which is good on these guys. The reason this is important is because 40 to 50%, maybe 40% of Russia's federal budget is paid for by energy sales. So sales of oil and natural gas pay for literally 40% of Russia's federal budget. So that they need that money desperately. And if we can cut that money off, it makes it much harder for the Russians to keep the war going. Please follow me on TikTok. I always forget to ask you guys, hit that follow button. YouTube and Discord as well, obviously. Discord, okay. There's no way to follow me on Discord, but you get the idea. YouTube, you guys should definitely be following me, subscribing. And you guys, TikTok, please do follow me. I see follows now. Thank you guys. And also, because of the new TikTok rules for lives, I'm required by my creator to ask you to click that little button up top, because that button makes you join my team. It costs only 1 coin each, and we're supposed to get a number of those per show, and that will help guarantee that I get more pay, which will be a nice thing. So thank you guys for that. Thank you, Dave. All right. Russia is talking about pulling out of the last nuclear weapons pact that it has with America. Really, I'm not. It's the New START treaty, caps the number of strategic nuclear warheads the U.S. and Russia can deploy. The Russians, sip of water. The Russians are basically trying to scare us and say, you've been mean to us by supporting Ukraine, so we're not going to agree to any more nuclear arms control agreements. Here's the problem. The last time the Russians got into a arms race with us, they lost. It was called the Cold War. It was long. It cost us a lot of money, but they lost and we won. Our economy is even bigger and stronger now. Theirs is still weak and getting weaker. Russia is a military superpower, I guess, because they've got nukes and a big military. I hate to say superpower, maybe a world power, but they're not an economic power at all. They've got oil and natural gas and some minerals, but they're not an economic power. Russia cannot afford another arms race with America. Also, Russia can't afford a war with America, which is part of what they're doing here as well. They're trying to do this, scare the Americans and the Europeans into thinking we may all go to war. I've said this before. The people who are most afraid of a war between Russia and Europe and Russia and America are not the Europeans and the Americans. The people most afraid of going to war are the Russians, because they're smaller than us. Their military isn't as good as us. Their economy is so much smaller than us. I mean, they don't have the money. And our military, frankly, kicks butt. We've got a bigger military and a better military by far than the Russians do. Nobody wants to go to war. I mean, that would be a bad thing. But the point here is, in terms of being afraid, thank you, Saba, in terms of being afraid of Russian threats of war, thank you, Jocelyn, we should not be afraid of them because they are afraid of us. They know they would lose a war with us. It'd be damaging for everybody, but they know they would lose. So when the Russians sort of do this, we're not going to agree to any more nuclear arms treaties. There's a part of me that almost wants to go all Reagan. Thank you, Abdullahi, to go all Reagan and go, okay, like, okay, you want an arms race? Bring it on, Boris. But thank you, Nikolai. And then finally, over the weekend, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania officially disconnected their electricity systems from Russia's. They were part of the Soviet Union. They were hostages as part of Russia's hostages as part of the Soviet Union. And even though they've been free for 30 years, they were still part of the same electrical network with Russia, which is kind of crazy because it opens them to blackmail. And they finally pulled the plug this weekend. They're free. So, woo-woo! I don't know about Finland. What's Finland's situation, T-Sten? I know this story applied to Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. But I don't know what the other was. No issues. That's good, CF. Good, CF Sinriga. Well, there was some concern that the Russians might try to strike back. The Empire strikes back. That the Russians might try to strike back and basically try to sabotage the power systems just to get, just to be nasty. Were the Finns connected too, though? Were the Finns connected? Meaning, were the Finns connected to the Russians as well? That's what I'm asking. Finland's free. The Balts were connected. We're hooking up to Finland and Sweden under the sea. Okay. All right. That is it for the news. Let's do our hangout period now. I have not, Doughboy. What are you talking about? Doughboy says, if you heard about North Koreans turning on the Russians in Kursk. No, but that would be pretty funny. What are you hearing? I did not hear that. We've heard that the North Koreans had pulled out for a while, for 3 weeks. Not clear why. Zelensky now says they're back. But I didn't hear that there were bad things going on between the Russians and the North Koreans. That would be pretty funny, actually. But I don't know if anybody has anything on that. Oh, bye. Well, no, Misha, that's not my point. No, because Misha, who's a Russian, but now an American, says most Russian military people are not afraid of Americans or the West. That's not really my point. My point is, and I mean, I don't know, but I would think that the senior most leaders in Russia know that they're not going to win a war against us. Okay? A nuclear war, nobody's going to be left. So whenever I hear Russians threatening nuclear war, I just kind of laugh. It's obnoxious. It's immature of them. But they know if they use their nukes, we're using our nukes in response, and they're going to be gone. We may be gone, but we're taking them with us. That's the first issue. So I'm not afraid of their nuclear threats. And I don't believe they even mean the nuclear threats, at least a senior official. I think lower level people and the idiots on TV, sure, because they don't know what they're talking about. As far as going to war overall, I'm not sure I believe that from the top Russian generals. I'm not sure I believe the top Russian generals think they could beat us. I don't think that's true. I'm not saying they're scared because they're generals. They're not supposed to be scared, right? But I don't know that I believe that they think, oh yeah, we can beat NATO. Maybe, but it'd be pretty dumb of them if they thought that. I mean, maybe they do. Now, the Russian people, you guys don't get news anyway. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised of that. But Smug says, any thoughts on what Trump said about Canada not being a viable country and being serious about taking Canada? Yeah, he's doing it again. Trump went after Canada again in like the last day or so. It may have been in response to Trudeau had like a hot mic moment where he mentioned some stuff on the microphone that I think he may have thought were private. This is Trump just being an ass. Also, it's entirely possible Trump is doing this to deflect away from some other crime he's committing. I was reading something earlier today. Steve Bannon, one of Trump's top guys, said that a day last week during the hearings, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was not doing well. The hearings did not go well. It looked really bad. So coming out of the hearings, Trump decided to hold a press conference and say a bunch of crazy stuff. And I don't even, and this was right after the air crash in DC. And Trump decided to on purpose, Trump decided to hold the press conference. And that's when he started blaming the female pilot and talking and stuff, because he wanted to create a scandal to divert attention away from RFK Jr. doing so poorly. And it worked. Thank you, Sheener. People started talking, which I even talked about Trump's obnoxious comments about the pilot. And it got the media to stop talking about RFK Jr., which doesn't hurt, And so the Canada stuff, he's not serious. Also, because I've got a feeling if Canada became a 51st state, it'd be a Democratic state, because no matter what you guys think of your health care, you don't want our health care. You really don't want our health care. I mean, after having been Canadian, so he's being obnoxious. Big surprise. I honestly, it gets him. He wants to be, it's narcissism. He wants to be in the newspapers. He wants to be talked about. Every time he talks about Canada, he's got an entire country scared and talking about him. He's like, yay. This is just part of his revenge tour. You guys probably, I'm guessing Trudeau pissed him off when he was president last time. And this is just part of Donald Trump getting even with you all, it's just so obnoxious. So obnoxious. Sorry, guys. I woke up a lot last night. He is destroying our country. I know. He does want Greenland. I think he actually wants Greenland. I think he wants Gaza. Well, the Gaza thing he wants, but he knows it's going to be impossible to clear it out without losing all our troops. Greenland he wants. He wants Greenland. Basically, what Trump has made clear, by the way, he's threatening to take back the Panama Canal too. Trump wants to increase the size of the U.S. Even if by an inch, he wants to be the guy who increased the size of the U.S. He thinks that's going to make him look great in history. That's what he's trying to do. And he's trying to figure out, where do you get it from? I mean, knowing him, he may invade Mexico and grab some. He could invade Mexico and grab some of the land. I mean, I who knows, but he certainly talked about doing it in Panama, Canada. He could grab some of your land too. I mean, honestly, there's nothing I would put past him. I mean, who knows? But he clearly wants more land for his record, Well, there is no Equal Rights Amendment, Teresa. I mean, there is no Equal Rights Amendment. Sorry, Teresa said there's a rumor he's working to remove the Equal Rights Amendment. There isn't one. And what Biden did was silly. Biden's thing was just for show. So Trump can't cause any harm there, because there is no Equal Rights Amendment in America. So, oh, excuse me. I was going to have one more coffee before the show started. I forgot. I think that's exactly it, Kent. I think he wants more land for his legacy. He thinks that, and honestly, it's very Putin-esque, Putin wants more land. Trump wants more land. Is there something wrong with my mic? I don't know. Anybody else think the mic is being bad on TikTok, or just Joe? Anybody else on TikTok? I don't know what yup means. Nope. Sounds good. Okay. That's good. Okay. Mic is fine. Sorry, Joe. Maybe try leaving and come back if the mic was being bad. Oh, and thank you for the gift. It went flying off. Whoever you are, it went flying off the stage when I asked people how the mic was doing. So sorry about that. Thank you, though. Thank you, Nicholas. So as I said again, make sure you guys hit that little team member button. TikTok likes that. It helps me out for my getting paid during the lives. Also, make sure to follow me on TikTok. Although that TikTok wants us to have you follow, but also it's not a bad idea. Remember, you can buy gift coins, even if you're American, by going to tiktok.com/coin or coins. It helps to do it from your computer. You might be able to do it from your phone, but if you do it from your phone, you have to make sure you call up the regular. Ooh, I'm burping here. I ate before this. Make sure you pull up the regular web page and not the mobile web page. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, Decade. Thank you, PPF. Dave, Lollapalooza. Eileen, Teresa. Fearmonger much? Honey, we've talked about this. You've got to use the right talking point for the right moment. We're talking about buying coins and how you get them to buy gifts on screen. Like, the fear-mongering talking point doesn't make sense. No, you could have used that 5 minutes ago when we were talking about nuclear weapons. That might have been good. But using it when we're talking about coins to buy gifts of pandas, that doesn't work. I'm very disappointed. I want better trolls. Why doesn't God send me better trolls? Thank you, Sabastu. Appreciate that. Hey, Bobby, thank you for the gift there. On YouTube, good sound on YouTube. That's good. Well, I switched my cord, and I'm wondering whether the sound is better on YouTube now. I wonder whether that cord I got from Amazon. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do tomorrow on Amazon. Tomorrow on YouTube, I'm gonna switch my cord again and see if it's crackling again, because I wonder if the cord's the problem. Thank you, Nihu, Candy. What else, guys? What else? As we said, this is part of the show. We hang out, we talk. Taylor Swift toy. No idea. No idea. Will the U.S. be an unsafe place to be? Possibly. Depends what you mean. Possibly. Thank you for the dragon. Speaking of Merlin, who was that with the dragon? Leia. Thank you, Leia, for that. Merlin's great. I'm watching Merlin again right now. Merlin's wonderful. Absolutely. God, I love Merlin. So good. So good. Well, I live in Washington, D.C., Canadian, Sarah, but I'm from Chicago originally. But I've been living in Washington, D.C. forever. New York for a couple of years, but then otherwise D.C. I don't like saying I'm from D.C. because I'm not from D.C. I'm from Chicago. So, will TikTok go away? Maybe. Always is useful to remind people, follow me on YouTube as well if you're on TikTok, which is right there. And follow your favorite creators on other social media. You can find my other social media in my profile on TikTok. The Linktree link will take you there, because we are still under the TikTok ban right now. People don't seem to realize this. Donald Trump didn't do anything. He tried to do something, but he didn't do anything. What Trump did, and it didn't work, Trump was trying to convince Google and Apple to keep the TikTok app in the App Store. It didn't work. The app isn't there. Basically, Trump had promised them, the way the law works, Google and Apple will have to pay a fine, a very large fine per user, like $5,000 per user per day, if the TikTok app remains in their App Store. Trump said, oh, don't worry, Google and Apple. Sure, every day you're incurring $5,000 a person, which could be millions of dollars a day or hundreds of millions of dollars a day. But I'm not going to come after you, Don. I am Donald Trump. So we're not going to enforce the law and come after you. But yes, you are in fact incurring a penalty of millions of dollars a day. And if I change my mind, I can come after you. If I stop being president and JD Vance comes over, he can come after you for it. If a Democrat wins in 4 years, they can come after you for it. And my analysis as a lawyer all along was that Google and Apple would say, well, okay, Trump, you promised you're not going to enforce the law and come after us. Thank you, Jazak. You promised you're not going to come after us for millions of dollars in fines, possibly billions of dollars in fines. But what if you change your mind? What if you get sick and are no longer president and JD Vance takes over? What if in 4 years you lose to a Democrat or another Republican and they want to fine us? Also, what if after 2 years, Google and Apple owe so many dollars in fines, billions of dollars, that now Trump is able to hold it over their head and say, well, you've had the app in your App Store for 2 years now. That's $100 billion in fines. I said I wouldn't come after you, but I'd like you to do me a favor, though, right? So bottom line is, I think the lawyers at Google and Apple likely told their bosses, there is no guarantee that Trump won't come after us. He could still come after us. Another president can. JD Vance could. So anyway, bottom line is, the ban is already happening on TikTok. TikTok's banned from the App Store. That is why it's not there for Americans. That is why Americans cannot recharge their coins without going to the TikTok website, tiktok.com/coins. That is why Americans cannot resubscribe to me on TikTok unless you go to the website and type in tiktok.com/@Aravosis and subscribe that way. But it's very difficult. All of this, anyway, what does that happen next? Well, at some point, your phone update, and I did update my phone and maybe I shouldn't have. At some point, your phone update is going to conflict with the TikTok app. And the TikTok app will need an update to work with the new operating system, the new iOS or Google. It can't do that if you're American because we can't go to the app store and get the update. And then the app will stop working. So that is the concern of where we are right now. I did turn off my auto updates as well, which I've got to actually go look. No, my auto updates are still on. My auto updates are on. Can you update your phone? Here's the problem. If you don't update your phone, you are taking a security risk. Okay. Thank you, Holly. Thank you, Moonchild. Thank you, Apple user. If you don't update your phone, thank you, Dave, for subscribing. You're taking a security risk. So I'm not going to tell you not to update. Thank you, Adventures. If you do update your phone, eventually the TikTok app may not work. And then we're screwed. So, it's I mean, I've been updating my phone anyway, but it scares me a little bit, Hi. Gulf of America. Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, no, it's a security risk because Apple, the latest Apple update was a security. I just did it. The latest Apple iPhone update included a security fix. They're always finding security issues and fixing them with app updates. So if you're not getting your phone up to date, you're not getting the latest fix for the new hacker they uncovered or whatever it is. That's why it's a security risk if you're not updating your phone. At some point, your phone could be vulnerable to be hacked or something else. I am not the expert on these things, but I know enough about them, Correct. CF Gregory says, I have an iPhone with a US-based phone number, an Apple account. Thank you. Oh, very cool. The Big Dipper, who is that? Sarah Ann. Thank you for that. Very cool. Gregory was saying he's got a US-based phone number and Apple account, but currently living in Riga, Latvia. TikTok is not available via the App Store. That is because you have an American App Store. My friend Matt was in Argentina, had the same problem. He's registered with the App Store as an American, and he's using the American App Store, and the American App Store is, you'd have to use the foreign App Store, but if you switch to the foreign App Store, then you may lose all of your American apps. And then you'd lose American PayPal, and you might even lose your American banks. So it gets very complicated if you try to get around it, Thank you, Bowie, for the gift. Congo, I am not up on Congo at all. I know like somebody invaded somebody there, but I'm not up on what's going on. Sorry. But yeah, I'm with Norwegian Collector. I feel like you should update your phone. That's what I'm saying. I would not want to tell people not to update your phone. I'm like, a burner phone. That's true. I mean, I'm going to Italy in a week and a half to see my nephew. Is it time I get an Italian burner phone? Just in case. That's very funny. And any Italians out there, we're gonna go to Lucca for a week and a half. So, and then use that as our base and travel around. So, any Italians around Lucca, let me know if we should have a cafe. What is that? Cafe? What do we call a? It's not a cafe. Cafe. What do you call a coffee get together in Italian? It's not a caffeggiata. What do you call it? I'm trying to. I thought there was a word for it in Italian for like a coffee get together. In France, it's like a pause café, aperitif. Yeah, but what isn't there a word for like a coffee gathering? I don't remember. Like I said, pause café in French, I think is what I'm thinking of. I've been to Scandinavia. I've been to Sweden twice, but that's it. Only Sweden. Guide on how to update with APK safely. I don't even know what that means. Is that Google? Pause Cafe? That's what I was thinking. A Pause Cafe. But I don't know in Italian if there's a similar concept. You know? Lucca is near Florence. Lucca, Stussi is near Florence. But my nephew's there with his wife, and she's the Singaporean who's waiting to get her U.S. green card, and it's taking forever to get it. So they're literally having to travel around the world, waiting for them to get the interview so she can get her green card. So they're in Italy for a month, and I was like, oh, I mean, I love Italy. I haven't been to Italy in 17 years, and I love Italy, and I speak Italian, and so I've been using my Duolingo, which is actually good. It's refreshing me. So that's a week away from now. We'll see. When I'm there, we're gonna see what I do about updates. I'm not sure how we're gonna do this when I'm in Italy. We'll have to see. Maybe we'll just do kind of hangouts or something, is what I'm guessing. We'll have to see. Anyway, what else is going on? I have not been to Norway. No, I'd like to go, but it's very expensive. Italy is 6 hours ahead of Washington, D.C. I know, buy a bunch of burner phones and auction them off. Honest to God. Go to eBay. I've got Italian burner phones. Get your TikTok. We talked briefly about USAID. I've been to Canada a few times. I love Canada. I like Canadians. I actually went to Ottawa for work when I was at the United Nations. I liked it a lot. Beautiful town. The Parliament building and stuff was gorgeous. They had a beautiful show because it was approaching your Independence Day, and they had this beautiful like sound and light show on the Parliament building, the history of Canada, which I was telling folks was very funny because at one or two points, like they picked like two people that you guys claim as Canadian, like Alexander Graham Bell might have been one of them that like you guys claim. And I'm watching this going, wait a minute, he's not Canadian. That was very funny. And then there was like, I forgot what, but at some point they mentioned like the war against America. And I was like, the war against America? I'm guessing it was War of 1812 or something. But I mean, like no one in America ever even thinks of a war against Canada. Like it's not even mentioned. We just don't talk about it at all. So like when I saw it pop up on the screen, I was like, a war against America? But it was very funny. Yeah, 1812. That's what I figured. But it was very funny. Yep. Yeah, I saw that another plane crashed in Arizona or something. I heard that. I have not seen the news, but I did hear that. What else? Dmitry Medvedev is 59. I would have thought he was older. He seems more jaded for 59. I was there. I think I was there Memorial Day weekend. So like May 31st or so. When is Canadian Independence Day? It's not June. It's not July 1st, is it? When is Canadian Independence Day? But I was there like May 31st or so, something like that. July 1st. They were practicing a month in advance. Yeah. Because I know I was there. I shouldn't say I know. I think I was there Memorial Day. Pretty sure. Yeah, no, I'd like to go back, but I liked it a lot. And then we did a quick little trip to Gatineau to get dinner or something, where I got to try my poutine. It was okay, It was kind of like potatoes with goo on top, but it was okay. But I want to go back to French-speaking Canada and practice my French with the Canadien. You're from Gatineau. That's funny. I think the waitress was being nice to me. She was speaking like pure French, French. So be nice, probably for me. Am I concerned that Vance says they will end the separation of powers? Hell yeah. Yep. We talked about that at the beginning of the show. Basically, Trump's vice president, J.D. Vance, is sort of insinuating that maybe the Trump administration will simply ignore the judges from now on and just illegally do whatever they want. That is of concern, yes, because that would literally be the end of our government, the end of our democracy. If they did that, then it would be akin to a coup. I don't even know what else to call it. It would be incredibly illegal, incredibly disaster. And I mean, it's what worries me is I wouldn't put it past these guys, so very scary. Well, they threatened it so far. He hasn't done it yet, although that's not true. They've been ignoring the judges. Judge ordered them to turn the federal money back on for all those programs that they canceled. They're still frozen. I did see that. Elias is talking about the 19-year-old Musk kid, that would be Big Balls, who was hired at the State Department with possible access to classified information. Yep. Trump has sent his goons over to the State Department now, his budget-cutting thugs, and they're now going through the State Department. Oh, the other thing is, well, no other thing, actually. I don't know. I've not been to Quebec yet. No, I'm dying to go. One of these days. You should be worried for us. Thank you from Canada. Appreciate that. JD Vance wants to be president desperately, as much as he wants to be a man. Which one's former KGB? Putin? I mean, we know Putin is. Was you talking about somebody else, Misha, or are you talking about Putin? Thank you. Mine de rien. Thank you. No, I would love to go. I mean, I'm going to Quebec at some point, because I would love to, but I just have never, like I said, just never really done it. Are people getting their Social Security checks? I think so. Yeah, there's not been any problem with that yet, which is good. But again, I talked about it the other day. Elon's people are going through Social Security and Medicare to look at what they can cut. They've admitted it. Elon started tweeting yesterday attacks on Social Security, calling it a fraud. Calling it accusing it of fraud, and B, calling it a ripoff. I mean, that's what Elon does when he's planning on cutting an agency. That's what they did to USAID. They created all sorts of fake accusations of fraud. They haven't found any fraud yet that we know. Everything they've claimed ended up being a lie. But they start to claim fraud and rip off right before they destroy it. And it's the fake justification they use. And now Elon is calling Social Security a ripoff and a fraud. That's very scary stuff. So the good thing is people are not, my phone keeps getting lower. People are not very happy about losing their Social Security. So that would be a very dangerous thing for them to touch. So what else, guys? Well, I mean, Myra asked a good question. Thank you, Jill, I guess. I can never tell your name. Jill Light for the potato in Paris. Myra asked, why aren't Trump's executive orders being stopped? I mean, they are. There are dozens of lawsuits against them right now. Many of them have been postponed temporarily. I have not been in Northern Ireland or to Ireland. A number of them have been postponed because pending the court cases themselves, but it takes time, And Trump is disobeying a number of them too, Yeah, the problem is they're going to 777. The problem with Social Security is, and I was telling the guy the other night about this. We were talking about sort of, but don't I think it's a good thing that they're trying to find fraud and fix it? Yes, that is a good thing. The problem is these are the wrong people. Democrats too often, I think, protect programs and don't, I think sometimes Democrats could be a little harsher, right? In going after fraud, you say, or whatever. The problem is Republicans a lot of times are not looking at these programs to correct the fraud. They're looking at these programs to use the fraud to close them down. They didn't go and fix USAID. They closed it all down. They cut off all U.S. development aid. They cut off all the money going to provide AIDS drugs in Africa, all the money going to stop people from starving to death around the world, right? All the money going to fight polio, all the money going to monitor bird flu in 49 locations around the world. They weren't interested. Elon Musk and ultimately Donald Trump were not interested in fixing and finding fraud. They created fake examples of fraud to justify shutting down the entire thing. And that's what worries me with what they're doing now. I don't think they're trying to fix anything. Elon, who knows what's motivating him? In Trump's case, Trump doesn't care about any issues. Republicans overall, they don't like government, but they also don't like things that Democrats like. So Republicans want to kill foreign aid because they just don't want to help people around the world. So they want to just kill it. So Social Security, they don't like Social Security either. I don't know that I trust them to fix Social Security. What else is going on with something else was going on today too. I was thinking about with this. Oh yeah, they want to block grant FEMA, which is the dumbest idea. FEMA is our Federal Emergency Management Agency, which is basically the agency that kicks in and helps provide aid when there's a hurricane, a flood, a fire, a natural, meaning like huge fire, like in California, huge natural disasters. And the Republicans want to now, Trump has been saying this, let's get rid of FEMA. Let's just get rid of it and we'll give the money to the states. The problem is FEMA's sole purpose is to step in when the states cannot handle it because the problem's too big. So there is no give the money to the states. It's not just a matter of money. It's literally the problem is too big a problem. A state government just can't handle it. They need the federal government to step in. So if Republicans are going to privatize FEMA and just give the money to the states are going to be in real trouble the next time you have a hurricane, a fire, a flood, a tornado, an earthquake. That's what has people so worried. Again, it seems they're not interested in fixing problems. They're interested in just using fake allegations of fraud to just shut down the government entirely. And that's bad. They may go for Amtrak. They may go for everything, guys. I mean, can they be stopped or arrested? Maybe stopped by the courts if they're doing things that are illegal, which it seems they are. Will they obey the rules of the court? Who knows? Part of the problem, as I said, is at least at the federal level, Donald Trump has the ability to pardon them. So if they break the law at the federal level, Trump will just pardon them and say, you're fine. Keep doing it. Very scary stuff. FDIC. No, they're not shutting down the FDIC. They're going after the consumer CFP. What is it? CFPB? It's not FDIC. No. Pediatric. I'm going to guess it's not that. FDIC is the money provided to guarantee that your money in the bank is safe. This never makes me want to leave the country. Often does. I mean, they're destroying this country. It's unfortunate, but the Chinese are going to win this in the long run. Even the Russians aren't going to win anything, but we're not focusing on America's future. We're focusing on the crazy little stupid wars they want to have, meaning the stupid culture wars they want to keep fighting. It's dangerous. CIA, they are going after the CIA and FBI. Of course they are. First of all, they're trying to get a bunch of CIA officials to quit. They offered the CIA a buyout. And everybody was like, are you insane? Like, why do you want people to leave the CIA? Like Russia and China want people. Terrorists want people to leave the CIA. Normal people don't want people to leave the CIA. I mean, very scary stuff. They literally threatened, let me pull this up. They threatened the FDIC? Are you sure? Oops, one sec here. Let me look here. 1 second. We better have an election in 4 years. Oops. 1 second here. All right, let's see. FDIC. Oops, where are my glasses? Where are my glasses? Oh, they're looking to cut the FDIC. Wait, who said that? Okay. Sources told CNN's Kayla Tosh, this is from a month ago, allies of Donald Trump have discussed the possibility of dismantling the FDIC, giving Treasury oversight of deposit insurance, and allowing the federal government to substantially shrink or even close the rest of the agency. Jesus. The FDIC, through an industry-funded pool of money, provides a safety net to protect customers in case their bank goes bust. Each depositor is automatically provided at least $250,000 or insurance at each FDIC-insured bank. Wow. That's absolutely insane. Yeah, that's insane. I mean, I did not see them talking about it a day ago, but some of Trump's people want to do it. Again, anybody who's not from the US, the FDIC is literally the insurance protection the government gives us for our money in the bank. And you get up to $250,000 per account. What's nice is, my savings account is one account. That's $250. My checking account is one account. That's $250. My CD is a third account. That's $250. So even though it's $250,000, it can build up. Like if you've got your life savings, your retirement in there, whatever, it can build up nicely. That's insane. Hey, Arctic, YouTube will not let me ask this in super chat. Read my second comment. All right. That's weird. It may not let you do it in the second one either. There may be a key word that we banned because the trolls were using it. We may have to go back. Mods, remind me. We may have to go back and look at some of the keywords in YouTube that we banned, because those mods may be long. Those trolls may be long gone, so we may not need to get rid of it anymore. So the Wall Street Journal reported they're going after the FDIC. Wow, that's just really dumb. I mean, I subscribe to the Wall Street Journal. Let me open this up. Although Thursday, that would be several days ago. Well, let me pull it up on Google, on Mr. Google. WSJ, FDIC, not sexual harassment. I hate when Twitter fills things in for you. It was not what I asked you to do. No. There may have been something last Thursday, but I'm not finding it. I'll do one quick look under the Wall Street Journal app. Ask not to track. Thank you. All right. FDIC. All right. No. I mean, there was some story yesterday, but I don't think it's the same thing. Oh, shit. I can't do it. It's making me log in here, and I don't even know my correct login for that. Too hard to do. Don't know. What else, guys? What else? Oh, yeah. So did you get your second comment in? It would not show. You're using some keyword. It won't allow. You know what? You want to write it to me on Discord? I've got my Discord open. Send me the message on Discord with your comment. Try that. Oh, maybe you already did. Oh, hold on. Nope. Yeah. Why don't you? I'll look at the stories you sent later. Send me your comment on Discord and I'll check it out. Oh yeah, Trump did say we're going to stop making pennies. Apparently, pennies are very expensive. Not necessarily a crazy idea. I do have a funny feeling that I hope the only reason Trump doesn't want to make pennies is because Lincoln freed the slaves. But you never know. But pennies do cost more than they're worth. I'm not quite sure why we need pennies. They're pretty worthless. I mean, pennies are pretty worthless. It's pretty stupid. Honestly, you could even get rid of a nickel. Who needs a nickel? 5 cents. I mean, prices could be, I don't know. I guess maybe a nickel. Are there pieces of candy that are that small? Maybe. Because even a dime, you could almost get rid of nickels too. But pennies are stupid. It's just sort of our fixation with it. But, but he is just running his mouth. Yes, we know that. That's true. Well, then prices could no longer be $9.99, but then they'd be $9.90. That works too, right? Yeah, but it'll be $29.90 will be the price, instead of $29.99. It still works. It's a little weird, but it works. So here is Arctic Legacy's question. Do you think there will be mutiny or more turncoating partisanship in Russia? Or will Ukraine turn into another frozen conflict like in 2014 because Megalopolis is wanting to wrap up the war? Mutiny or more turncoating partisanship in Russia. Didn't you ask this before? And I didn't know what you or somebody else mentioned something about this, about partisanship in Russia. I don't understand that first question. I don't know what you're talking about. Who mutiny of who? Like against Putin, you mean? And what do you mean by turncoating partnership or partisanship? Sorry, I don't know what you mean by that. Will Ukraine turn into another frozen conflict? Ukraine will turn into a frozen conflict if we keep supporting them. If we don't support them, then I think the Russians may end up winning. But Ukraine is already turning into a frozen conflict to some degree, meaning, right, the battle just it's a little bit of a war of attrition really already, that's sort of my concern on that front. But yeah, explain what you meant by the first sentence. Did they? I didn't even know. Did Ukraine get rid of small denomination kopecks? Didn't mean anything to me. I wasn't paying attention to that. Hello, Kay's in Canada. Well, and Lincoln's on the $5 bill, right? So they've already got Lincoln. I'm sure Kentucky won't like it, but Illinois won't like it either because we claim him in England. We claim him in Illinois. Thank you, Kentucky. Our money in our bank is currently safe, but they may make an attack on it. Yes. On the government agency that actually guarantees our money is safe in the bank. So I am planning on staying in the US. Yes. Although I would love to live abroad anyway, but, everyday people working against the state. Yeah. I don't know. Actually, maybe even Misha can give us a take on that. I've asked Marion before on whether Russians have what it takes to ever rise up against their government. 1917 was a long time ago. 2011, there were a lot of protests that were squashed. But do Russians have what it takes to actually stand up to Putin ever, or stand up to any of this stuff? And do they want it? Maybe the Russians are happy the way things are. It's not like they've got much of a democratic history, and your money's safe right now. Don't worry about it for the moment. I think there would be for that at least, there would be such an uproar if they went after FDIC. Arctic is saying the 1991 coup, the Russians stood up. Did the people stand up? I don't remember. Stock market. What about? Well, and I think the Russians also, it's a problem in Eastern Europe too. It's, you live under sort of domination for so long that you learn to kind of get by, and you learn to keep your head low, Depositors are pulling gold bars out of the Bank of England at a breakneck speed. All spots to go have been reserved. Why? Are they afraid the bank's going to confiscate it or something? Or what do they think? That seems kind of crazy. I don't know that I'd want a bar of gold at home. That sounds a bit crazy. It'd be fun to touch like my precious, but wanting gold at home? That's a little scary. You know? Yeah, but even if the bank crashes, they're going to take your gold? I mean, that's interesting. Wow. Oh, well, but the price of gold isn't going up in the US. I assume the price of gold is going up worldwide. I can't there isn't going to be a different price. I'm assuming there isn't a different price in gold in America than in Europe. That would be stupid. Then you'd buy it in one place and sell it in the other and go back and forth. You know what I mean? Now, the price of gold is going up and they want to sell their gold. That's possible. You know? Don't know how it affects credit unions, Crystal. I just don't know. Oh, yeah. Concerned the U.S. may not return it. I wouldn't trust the U.S. for anything now. Again, Trump has shown us that I don't think there's any agreement with the United States that you should trust. You know, the U.S. agrees to turn your gold back over to you. Really? You think Donald Trump's going to turn your gold back over to you? Really? I'm tired. I did. The dog woke me up a lot last night. I just didn't sleep well. So it's like, and then it interrupts my sleep. So then I'm kind of like, ugh. I'm okay. I'm just tired. Yeah. War news. No, I mean, I went through the war news already. There isn't any big news. You're tired too, Blue. There isn't any big news today. Not really. Sasha is not going to Italy. No. Too much trouble. Way too much trouble. Oh. So Damien's going to watch her here. And my friend Matt may take her for an afternoon when Damien's working. So have I been streaming all day? No. Right. Oh, that's interesting. What else? We've already been doing an hour and a half. Yeah, we may close up anyway. Usually when am I going to make more bread? I was supposed to make more today and I forgot. I need more bread. I'm very low. Like I'm using my store-bought stuff now. So I'm going to have to, and I'm tired. I need to get a good night's sleep. But no, I've got to make more bread tomorrow because I'm out. So I'm going to yawn at you again. Sorry, guys. Thank you, Smug. But yeah, I didn't know that other countries actually stored their gold in the U.S. at Fort Knox. Never knew that. Oh, what? The Greek bread? Tsoureki. Tsoureki. Except, is this recorded? Same convo? I don't know. What convo is that? Same convo as when? But what if it was a recording of us discussing a recording? Ooh. I do not have a bread maker. No, you could use one. I mean, I'm sure they're comfortable. I just make it myself. No, I'm going to Lucca, and then we're going to go nearby to Cinque Terre and some of the other, probably, Siena, which I've never been to. So Siena would be nice. I want to see if there's anything Etruscan near. I'm not sure there's anything near Lucca though. I've gone to some. I like Etruscan stuff. I've gone to some Etruscan things, but like the New York Natural History Museum has a wonderful Etruscan area. Oh my God. I used to love going in there. Oh, so cool. Do I have faith we can turn the country around? No. But I mean, we can. I'm not convinced we will, but we can. And I think it's important to keep trying. Yes. Pisa's nearby. I haven't quite decided if I'm going to go to Pisa. I just feel a little too going to Pisa. It feels too touristy, just see the leaning tower. Then again, it's not tourist season, so it could be kind of a fun time overall to go. Anyway. Well, and Misha was talking about the KGB being dead. Misha, a couple of years ago, Malcolm Nance is this American former military guy who's very vocal, good guy, very vocal, and was getting into an argument with Glenn Greenwald, who's this kind of leftist, but so far to the left that he's kind of in league with the right, with the MAGA people in some ways. And Glenn was, Malcolm was mentioning the KGB or something, and Glenn made this obnoxious comment Malcolm was like military intelligence and all this other stuff, right? And Glenn was not. And Glenn made some comment like, Malcolm, the KGB hasn't existed for 30 years. They closed their doors 30 years ago. And Malcolm said, Glenn, it's not like they shut it down. They changed the name. and it's true. I mean, it's not like the Russians got rid of their secret service, their secret police. They didn't get rid of their spies just because the Soviet Union went away, right? They changed the name. It's like, okay, yeah. Gold is up even farther, 29.65. Wow. That is high. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Ashley. Yeah, Malcolm's great. I've got to get Malcolm to come back as well for the show. I did. Oh, at Scottsdale, even the airport. Oh, I heard there was another plane accident. We seem to be having a lot of these since Trump took over. They changed the name exactly. Yeah, that's our screaming Greek goat we use for trolls and just waking you up when you're tired. Per troy ounce. Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's okay, Bisha. Yeah, we don't want to get people back home in trouble either. All right, guys, I think we're going to call it quits here. All right, we've been going an hour and almost 40 minutes. Is it safe to stay in the stock market? I will tell you this, and I of course will never give you financial advice, but I've done a lot of reading on such things, and many experts think that you can't figure out when the market's going up and when it's going down, so that it's just safer to put your money in the market. And as long as it's for a long time, let it go for a long time. And in the long run, the market tends to do well in the long run. In the short run, who knows, right? Think adventures. You need money in a year, right? You need money in 5 years to buy a house, right? The market could go down for the next 10 years. That's a different question. For the long term, though, if you're not retiring for 20 or 30 years, personally, I wouldn't be that worried about the stock market, because who knows? It could go up even more, from now. I mean, and at some point it'll drop. What they find, though, is typically people, and I mean, I know this, I feel like I've got the curse. Like, if I sell a stock will go up. If I buy a stock, the stock will go down. You know what I mean? And I think that's true for a lot of us. What they found is people are very bad at knowing when the market's going up and down, so that people will not, they'll say, oh, I think the market's in risk, I'm going to take my money out. Okay. Maybe the market will go down, maybe it won't. But also, when will you get back in? Like, when the market goes down, you're going to be even more fearful of getting back in. So like, it just, for a lot of people, it's easier just to leave stuff in and let it go. If you're going to retire in 10 years, then it's another question. It depends how much money you've got, how much money's in the market. Do you buy bonds? Are bonds even safe? Not safe, but are they good investments? Should you buy CDs, with some of the money, so that it goes up every year, but you can't lose it? I mean, it's, this is a very complicated topic. I do know a lot about it, but I'm also being careful because, we don't like to give financial advice, but yeah, if you're retiring sooner, then maybe you put more money in CDs, for example, so that it goes up every year, but it also depends how much money you've got. If you've got enough for retirement, right? I mean, it just depends, if you're retired now, but even that's an interesting question. If you're retired now, conventional wisdom is that you put most of your money in safe stuff like stocks or CDs. But some people would tell you if you've got enough money, maybe you leave part of it in stocks and things. I mean, it's just, it's, again, it's hard. I don't want to get into it because I worry. I don't know how TikTok sort of handles financial advice stuff. So I don't want to be giving financial advice. You know what I mean? You're funny. Yeah, I know. Jacob that's okay. The thing is, you want to be careful because I could see I can see the mods coming after you, Jacob. Careful, but thank you. Thank you, Jeppy. Thank you, Debbie. Yeah, just don't invest in Tesla. Yeah, very funny, very funny. All right, guys, I'm gonna get going. Plastics, they're the future. Looking. Yeah, exactly. All right, I'm gonna go, guys. All right, thank you for joining us tonight, guys. It's been almost an hour and 45 minutes. I'll be back tomorrow. I do this every night, Monday to Friday, 6:00 Eastern Time, US. I am John Aravosis. This is the Aravosis Report. Thank you for your gifts. Thank you for following all the fun stuff we did on TikTok. And I will see you guys tomorrow at 6:00 Eastern Time, US. What question did you ask, Clay? I did not see it, but I'm not guaranteeing you I'll ask. What was the question? I'll wait a second. Type the question again, Clay. But it better be a good question. I'll wait. I'm going to wait for Clay's question now. All right. Type it in. We'll see. Better be a good one. We got everybody waiting now. In our DMs. Yeah, but I can't go to the DMs during the show. Oh, DMs. I can look at the DMs. I don't always check DMs, but I'll try to look for it. I get so much crap in there that I don't check all the DMs all the time. But I'll go look. I'll go look there. But I'll look. I'll see the name Clay and remember you. So I'll check it out. All right, guys. Have a good night. Thank you, user 336. I've not been to journalists in Ukraine. I haven't been to Ukraine. I've been wanting to go, but I also don't feel totally safe going. So I'd like to go. I will go eventually, but right now, don't feel totally safe going there. So yeah, Tucker lied. Well, wait a minute. Actually, the only problem is that person might not have been a spammer. Blue Acid Farmer, bring him back. That guy might have been okay. So Acid Farmer was asking though. Tucker Carl, he may have been just alerting us to Tucker's latest bullshit. So bring him. There you go. So Acid Farmer, I don't know if you were trying to be rude or if you were just trying to alert us to what Tucker said. Right. Tucker Carlson, who used to be a Fox News host, brought up some lie today. Well, that's what I was going to say. I assumed you might not have been being a jerk about it. That's why, Blue, be careful with that. Just because they're asking, sometimes people are asking because they heard. Tucker Carlson, who's this former Fox News nut job, is claiming that, and he claims everybody knows Ukraine took all the weapons and they sold half of the weapons we gave them to the Mexicans or something, or this, I don't know what, on the Mexican border. And it was just like, no. And Andy, the best part, because again, his lies are great. Everybody knows this to be true. You're like, dude, literally nobody knows that to be true. It's not even an allegation. The Russians have put out this disinformation for years claiming, the Ukrainians are selling weapons, but there's never been proof of it at all. Zero. And the U.S. investigated it, didn't find any. But now the latest lie that everybody knows is true is half of the U.S. weapons were sold. And it's like, no, they weren't. So yeah, that's Tucker Carlson being Tucker Carlson, sadly. Yeah. No, that's why, like I said, I saw him mention it. I thought he might have just been mentioning it as in, hey, I don't know if you heard Tucker's latest. Yeah, no, that's ridiculous. Yeah. No, it's just, they're just trying to, exactly. Misha. Well, Misha, you definitely, we thought were a troll. Yeah. But that's because, you're Russian. I mean, you're like, hi, I'm from Russia. We're like, oh God, what is this going to be like? Thank you, Succeed. All right, guys. Let's call it quits. We've been going late here, right? We'll see you again tomorrow. We've been doing this for an hour and 45. 6:00 Eastern Time, US tomorrow. Join us again. All right. YouTubers, Discordians, I will say goodbye to you. Sorry, looking at your comments really quick. Yes, I agree with what Harvey was saying. All right. Hang up here. Oops. 1 second. I'm trying to get Discord. The Discord hang up button is never terribly obvious. There it is. All right. All right. See you, Jeffrey. Okay. Discord is done. YouTube. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. All right. And then